there's lots of fights all over the place this weekend. Never seen it so busy. But yeah, looking forward to this one. You know, Franklin challenging Dillian. It's going to be very, very explosive for sure. You know, any fighter who's 21 fights unbeaten, you know, coming over here, he's been out here training with sparring with Dubois and Tyson Fury. So, you know, he's not the usual American hype job who's turned over. So he's come over here with 3 or 4 days, not acclimatized, not mentally prepped. He seems like he's coming over to cause an upset, and I'm looking forward to seeing the new Dillian Whyte, because the fight we saw last time out against Tyson Fury, it didn't seem like that was him giving it his all. But this time, hopefully, we can see he's dusted himself off. You know, he's lost 2 of his last 3 fights. He wants to get back on his winning ways. So I think he's going to want to make a massive statement.
Another cracking fight that we've got on the undercard is, of course, Nathan Gorman and Fabio Wardley. Now that is hotly tipped towards Fabio Wardley, but Gorman's very experienced. It's going to be a good fight, that.
Yeah, he's very experienced. He's got a really good counter left hook as well that not many people are giving him a shot for. I think off the strength of his loss to Dubois, people have kind of write him off and they're not really giving him too much of a chance. But Fabio hasn't done anything either in terms of, you know, he beat Molina, but Molina was way past his best. So he hasn't fought anyone who's really come to win with a real and had a bookie's chance of doing that. So he's untested. But what he has done is build up some nice momentum. Those 13 knockouts in 14 fights. The fact that he, you know, didn't have any amateur fights, he had these white collar fights. So he's come a very unorthodox way, and for him to be where he is at such a short period of time, he clearly has natural talent, natural attributes. He speaks well, he looks the part. So I think the people have just jumped on that bandwagon. Understandably, he looks like he's a future heavyweight champion.
David, pro boxing fans, do you remember sparring with Dillian back in the day? And if so, what were those spars like?
Yeah, I remember sparring with Dillian a lot. You know, he was coming from a kickboxing background, so he was very awkward. His foot positioning was quite tough. I remember he had a very, very good jab. His arms were probably 2-3 inches longer than they should be. I remember realising that straight away, kept catching me with a jab. I couldn't understand why, because I was in the right position. His arms are just that long, so you have to make adjustments with him. This was when he was training by Chris Oko, and he was bags of balls, bags of heart. I think I was a champion at the time. He was just coming into the professional game. He was just coming into the professional game. I think if he had a few amateur fights, and he was ready to tear up with anybody in the gym. So I always thought he had the right mentality and mindset. That although I was a champion at the time, he was just coming into the pro ranks. He would attack me with, you know, like Dillian would attack anybody, and I always liked that about him. Always got good rounds.
Was Fury just too good for him on the night, or did he not do enough?
Oh, it's a mixture of both. You know, the answer was he got knocked out in 6 rounds without having much success prior to that. So, you know, there are levels to his game, and maybe he found his level there. But he needs to regroup, because I don't believe the effort he put forth was the best way of his. I picked Carlos Takam to beat Derek. I thought Derek at the time was past his best, and I'd sparred Takam, and he was an absolute nightmare. He's just so strong, so relentless, and I just didn't think Derek could deal with it. And as the fight transpired, he got exactly what I thought was going to happen, started happening. But what I didn't calculate was Derek Chisora is made for war, and that was a war, and he ended up finding a overhand right to effectively close the show from a position where he had no business still being in the ring. So when you've seen that up close, when you've seen, you know, even in sparring, he does things in sparring, everyone's got a chance. Every dog has his day, and can you imagine that would probably be the biggest heavyweight upset in history. I can't think of one that would be bigger than that. Buster Douglas wouldn't be up, that's not as much. Hasim Rahman, Oliver McCall. No, this would be, because Tyson Fury's beaten twice before, so the stats are so heavily weighted in Tyson's favour. It will be the biggest heavyweight upset of all time. So, you know, you probably get 100 to 1 on that. So, well done, punt.
And what do you make of Fury calling out Joe Joyce?
Calling out who?
Joe Joyce.
He should focus on Saturday night. You know, and hopefully come to the ring, and, you know, we know he can box. We know he can outbox Derek, because he's done it twice before.
He did it once orthodox and once southpaw. Okay, so we get that in a boxing match with Tyson Fury and Chisora. Tyson Fury can outbox him at long range. Can Tyson Fury stand toe-to-toe and go to work with him in a war? Can he go to war with him? Is he better at fighting inside than Derek Chisora? Unknown. I'd like for him to prove that he can. Go toe-to-toe with Derek. Stand in the ring and just let your hands go. Give the fans some entertainment. We've seen you beat Derek on point, southpaw and orthodox. How about park that up and let's focus on giving the fans a war. Derek's coming for war, doesn't want to be chasing you around the ring. How about you stand there, use your superior height and weight and give the fans a great fight. I think that's what I'd like in an ideal world, to see two fighters go toe-to-toe, you know, particularly with the advantages being in Tyson Fury's favour.
Cheers, David.